for some issues with FPL getting connected to permanent power. So we asked FPL to come and sit here and maybe yield some questions from the condos or from the contractors. I see prices in the background too, as to their specific questions. They'll answer them the best they can. Their teams are obviously, with the storms we've been having, have been very busy. So if it's something they can't specifically answer today, Charlotte has said she will make sure she gets back to everybody by Monday, at the end of Monday, with their direct questions if they do. If there's anything else, we'll just kind of go around the table so everybody can introduce who they are, so that everyone knows who they're talking to if they have specific questions. So we'll start over with you, Amy.
I'm Amy Baker. I'm the town clerk.
Nicole Burson, the public information officer.
Andrew Hyatt, town manager.
Dan Allers, mayor.
Frankie Kirkpatrick, director of operations and compliance.
Charlotte Miller, FPL external affairs manager for Southwest Florida.
Dupree Hammond, Energy Solutions Specialist for Florida Power and Light, customer service.
Well, thank you guys for being here. Thank you for everyone that's in the audience. And I know we have some people up on the Zoom that will be asking some questions. So we'll get the questions from the people in the audience first, and then we'll go to the questions on Zoom. So whoever would like to be first, come on up. Anyone? Huh? Can't hear you. Pledge of Allegiance. Oh. Yeah, we should probably do the Pledge of Allegiance. Thanks for reminding me.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mayor Allers, if I may, we do have our power delivery team on Zoom.
Speak in the...
We have our power delivery team on Zoom, so we'll be able to go ahead and introduce them as well.
Okay, can you go ahead and introduce them then? Make sure you're not on mute. Looks like everybody's on mute up there.
Okay. Wade, can you hear me?
Yes.
So Wade Jollimore is our area manager. He has his team with him, and he is going to introduce them, and then, as Mayor Allers said, we'll be happy to go through the questions. They are very sorry they're not able to be here in person today, but wanted to be here virtually. As you know, we've had a lot of storms and flooding the last few days, with more expected, and they've been working around the clock. So we, excuse me, thank you, the town, for allowing this virtual option today. FPL is very committed to continuing to work hand in hand with the town, the HOAs, all the residents. We know it's been a really long haul, and we're in this with you. We want to continue to be very responsive to your needs, so we truly appreciate the opportunity to be here today to answer your questions. If there are questions that are very specific to your condo association and are not more of a general nature, our power delivery team will be back in touch with you Monday to answer those questions. If you have questions that are billing related or customer service related, Dupree Hammond is here today. He's got his computer and everything available to be able to assist you after the meeting if you would like to talk with him about specifics. And now, I'm sorry, yeah, go ahead.
Yes, if you have any questions in regards to billing, non-billing, specific customer service questions, please see me afterwards. I'll make sure I get your account. If I can answer it right there on the spot for you, I will. If not, I will make sure I get your information, and we'll make sure we get you taken care of. We're here for you, and we're here to support you.
Thank you, Dupree. Now we'll hand it over to Wade Jollimore for introductions on his team.
Maybe.
Perhaps.
He's on mute still.
Wade, you may be on mute.
Gotta love Zoom.
You'd think by now we'd all know how to use it, right?
I think their new tagline should be making 20-minute meetings last an hour since pre-COVID.
Mm-hmm. Wade, we're still not able to hear you.
All right, can you hear us okay now?
Yes.
All right, good deal. Sorry for the delay there. Just more so used to the WebEx and the Zoom, so just a little technical difficulties getting the audio corrected. Thanks for letting us be a part of this meeting today. Definitely excited to come together and make sure that we're doing all we can to work together to get everything restored as quickly as possible and get everyone back to a sense of normalcy with, so much that has happened that has affected all of your teams as well as, FPL just, been a constant battle for us here as well. Wade is actually, trying to make his way into the meeting now. He just, as you know, with the recent weather passing that we're still fighting, he's actually actively on a storm call at the moment, but he should be able to join us here shortly to take part here as well. I guess we'll briefly introduce ourselves on this side. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we
Yes.
can hear you.
Yeah, what was that last part?
Could you repeat that?
I thought someone said didn't want to interrupt. I guess we'll just briefly introduce ourselves over here, and then we can kick it off.
Perfect.
So I am Dalton Ravens, engineering lead for the Naples and Fort Myers area.
Drayton Diggs, one of the area engineers for Fort Myers Beach and the Fort Myers area.
Sebastian Garcia, distribution engineer. Wade Jollymore, area manager for Naples, Fort Myers.
Thank you, Wade. Thank you for being able to join us. They're ready for questions, so I know you had some comments you'd like to share first, and then we can move to the questions.
Yeah, for sure. So just wanted to mention, sorry we couldn't be there in person. As you may know, it's been a long couple days here at FPL with the storms and the rain and everything, so it's been very busy. These guys are engineers, but they also function in the operation arena, and so they've been working kind of around the clock trying to help out our customers. One thing I wanted you guys to know is how much we really appreciate Fort Myers Beach. So we lost our yard on Winkler, which is in Gladiolus, during Ian, and those guys, they were very passionate about staying out there and helping the beach and helping the area, and they've been doing it since. So we're very, we're very pleased to be helping you guys in any capacity we can. I think maybe there's a little misinformation out there from maybe the contractors that are working in the area. When we go to a residence, we can't hook up a customer if it's not safe. We can't put our guys in that situation. So, the feedback that maybe goes to the customer at times is, well, FPL pulled out and they didn't energize us. So there's a lot of situations out there, but I want you to know, when you drive over that bridge and you see the flag there, our guys hung that with the police. So they're very passionate about helping you guys out, as we are too, and these guys in the room here. So, we're open to more questions, but obviously if you can send the questions to us in the email, or, if there's some way that we can dig into it deeper, we're here to help.
Wade, I told Charlotte this before the meeting, and I'll let you and your team kind of understand one of the main reasons this meeting is happening is the condos are now starting to receive their elevators, which has been an almost 2-year wait, and they can't get their elevators connected to temporary power. They have to be connected to permanent power. So several have reached out and said that they're ready. Their contractors have told them that they're ready to receive permanent power so that they can get their elevators open, because they can't get their residents back in until the elevators are functional. So that is starting to be the biggest concern that at least I've been hearing from the condo presidents and the condo association people is their people want to get back in, but they've got their elevators now finally after almost 2 years, but they're just waiting for permanent power to be connected. So I'm sure there's going to be other issues out here besides that, but that is a very big one. We've been trying very hard to get everyone back in their condos as quick as possible. So any help your team can give us to expedite this for those that actually can receive power. I have spoke to some of the contractors on the island that are doing these, and they confirm that they are ready for it. So we'll let them start talking and let them give you their issues, and hopefully we can get some resolutions to some of this today. Who wants to be first? No one wants to be first, but someone's got to be first. Anyone?
If you don't have anybody that wants to be first, we did have 3 questions that were sent via email. We
Okay,
can
let's
start
do
with.
those
Would you
first.
like to do that?
Sure.
Okay. All right, so I'll read the question, and then Wade and his team will provide the answer. The first one is FPL responsible for cleaning out the conduit buried underground from the street to our building's transformers?
So I'll just say, yeah, as a part of the reconnection process for all the customers, once we've got an inspection received, authorizing, giving us the authority to come out and reconnect it, all of our crews or our contractors that are working on our behalf are making sure that all of our equipment, up to the transformer that we own, that FPL maintains, is safe and in good condition to be energized and to have those customers connected. Should they find something that looks like it's deteriorated or it needs to be replaced, we would certainly be handling all of that prior to connecting and energizing the customers.
Dalton, can you expand a little bit on how, what is FPL equipment versus customer-owned wire and conduit?
I guess, yeah, so for sure. So the primary lines that are going to be running, off of our feeder backbones to these transformers is all FPL, of course, owned and maintained. And the FPL transformer itself, of course, is ours and maintained. But typically, these wires that are running from the transformer to these buildings are going to be customer-owned secondary wires that are owned by the building or the building managers. And then all of the meter cans and electrical mains and switch gear there on the building, those are going to be owned and maintained by the buildings and their electricians. So we will own the meter themselves that are connected to those meter cans. But if the meter cans, and that equipment is damaged, that would be equipment that is, the responsibility of the building owners there to have maintained or replaced if necessary.
Thank you. Any questions on that? Okay, the next question
Hold on,
is...
before you go on.
Yeah.
There was a recent issue with a couple commercial properties on the north end of the island that had, I think it was an underground fire that happened from the transformer to the building that has to be done. Is there a way that FPL can, my understanding, and I don't know this for sure, but my understanding is that wire was not in conduit, now has to be in conduit. So, Drayton, are you saying that in order for, because I've heard this several times over the last year, people think that they're ready to get connected. I think 7-Eleven was another one that when FPL came out and said, well, these wires underground are not in conduit. So are you recommending that everyone replace the underground conduit before FPL comes out, or install underground conduit before FPL comes out, so that you're not running a truck twice and the customer's not expecting to be hooked up when there's still another issue? Is there any way to test that?
If any cable needs to be replaced, right, it's all going to be new in conduit for sure. But as far as our facilities go, if it's not in conduit, we're probably going to be replacing it and putting it in conduit. So we can't speak on behalf of the customer side. That's really up to the customer and the building owners whether they want to replace their customer-owned cables.
I guess that's what I was getting at. So everything from the transformer to the building, you're not going to come out and say it's not in conduit, so we're not going to hook it up.
Correct. If you guys get your inspections, if that cable's not in conduit, we'll still hook it up.
Okay.
Thank you. The next question is... I'm sorry?
Yeah, I think having it in conduit certainly makes it easier. Should that cable have an issue or fail, it truly expedites, exponentially the, downtime of getting that cable replaced if it is in a conduit and needs to be replaced. If they're just, I would just try to push for the building owners or the building electricians to do their best to try to, test out and inspect this customer-owned cable instead of just maybe assuming that it's good to go because it looks all right. But, a lot of times these cables, that secondary side that we're not in conduit, we're just, sitting soaked in salt water and get corroded, over time. And, having them sitting and not energized for a long time just, can cause, enhanced or expedited deterioration of those cables. So I think having it in conduit is preferred as it, speeds up the replacement should it be needed on the customer side. But it's not necessarily mandatory. So if your cable's in good condition, it's not in conduit and it's ready to go, then there should be no issues with getting it connected.
Thank you. The next question is a long one. What is the process/procedure to get FPL to energize buildings? Is it they meet with our electrical contractor and or engineer? Do they need our electrical prints? And how much time notification notice do they need from us when we want power on in the building?
Yeah, so as much notice as we can get is best for us. And then any of the buildings, whether they're new or existing, if we're doing the reconnects, we do want to see a set of plans just to verify that the voltage and everything is the same with either what we got out there or what we're doing new. And then, of course, the inspection is most important. So, between those three things, that's really what we do need to see for the hookup.
Thank you. And the last question we have is, who is responsible for ensuring safety on the incoming power lines, and is there testing that would need to take place, and if so, by whom?
The incoming power lines being the cable from the transformers to the building, that would be, the customer's responsibility to, like Dalton just said, to inspect and make sure that their customer-owned cables are good to go on the customer side.
Yeah, just so you know, on our side of the business, we have numerous processes to inspect our equipment. We have vault inspections. We have a pole inspection process where we have a contractor go out and check our poles on a regular basis, look for any deterioration or anything, and we would replace them based on that. So there's a lot of inspection processes. We use thermal vision. We look at our equipment frequently. And, if we see something that's going to fail, we get it replaced.
All right. Now, does anybody want to come up and say anything or have any questions? Still no? Who? Yeah, come on up. Good morning.
Good morning. First of all, I'm Chuck Foss. I'm the resort director for Hilton Sea Watch on the Beach down the 6,000 block. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to FPL for the hard work that they do. We had two things that we experienced. We're still not open, but we're hoping in the next 60 days to reopen. The first one was more or less a billing question, or comment, I guess. For the first 15 months after the storm, we were billed on historical data. We had no power, but we continued to receive monthly billing for the electrical we were not using based on the previous year's residency. So even though we weren't open, we were receiving bills based on the previous year's usage, which finally we were able to do. But since, again, as Hilton, all those bills go directly to corporate, I don't see them here other than just getting a piece of paper that says this is what happened. So that was the first thing that happened with us. Secondly, and we are coming into storm season again, we were slated to get back on street power in September of last year. We had a storm situation just like we did over the last few days, and we basically lost our place in line. And so it was January before we were able to get energized back at the building. Coming into storm situation now, even though we're on street power, is there something going forward into next storm season for the rest of the folks that are here where you don't basically just lose your place in line and have to go back to the end and start again?
I can address the billing issue first. If you would like to talk with Dupree afterwards, we'll be happy to look at that with you and address, obviously, if you are not using power and that has not been corrected, we need to work with you on that.
Okay.
Yes, please get with me afterwards, and then I know it's a business account. We'll make sure I get it to one of the business reps, and we'll figure out what happened with the disconnect as far as the billing, especially hearing that you didn't have power and being charged when you did not have power. We'll get you squared away and taken care of.
Absolutely. And then the second one I'll kick to Wade's team. Wade, Dalton, anybody there?
Yeah, can you hear us?
Yes, thank you. He had a question regarding street power. You might need to give us a definition of what street power, what you're referring to.
Having our transformer reconnected to the building.
Okay.
Right, I think just maybe in regards to, the need for all these buildings to have standby appointments to get their, new cables either pulled in or new cables connected, and waiting several weeks for those appointments to come and then having them delayed by potential storms and things. I would say first that we do have more, we've been able to increase our staffing on the contractor side as well as on, our in-house FPL side crews to try to limit the hassle and the extended lead times with some of these appointments, just being that, so many buildings out here all need appointments and all need dedicated resources for extended periods of time to get this work done, so we can come out there and stand by to de-energize facilities or reconnect facilities. So with the increased staffing, I think we'll be in a much better place to not see those, extended lead times should, some type of storm or even just, heavy afternoon weather cause some delays to a scheduled appointment. We should be able to, quickly get that back on schedule so you're not facing too extended of a delay there.
If you'd like to give me your contact information too, they can contact you with specifics
Okay.
on when those standbys would
Yeah,
be.
All right. Thank you.
that'd be
you.
great, Charlotte.
Is it possible, I know we had talked in the past about getting a step-by-step process of how this would go in this specific, so that we can distribute that to the condos? Because if they're waiting and then they're getting pushed back, at least if they know ahead of time that this could be a reality and this is why, if that's something that you could provide us to get out to them.
So we did do fact sheets for residential, commercial, and then condo buildings. Frankie, do you still have some of those here?
I think they were gobbled up pretty good, but I think we still might have a few copies here that we
Okay, if we have some here today, we could provide those today. If not, I can provide more for you. It is still on
I
the
think we can
website, right?
also,
Yes, I believe it is still on the website. I can double check, but I know that I brought the entire box up front so that Donna could hand them out so we can check with her to see if she has any left.
Oh, good, okay, thank you.
Now, if not, can we print some more out so if people want to take them?
Yes, we will.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
we can also provide the electronic version again, so you can post on the website. I know we did get some feedback that people were seeing it on there, which helped a lot. So if we just make sure that's reposted, I think that'll be good.
Maybe just re-up it.
My name is Bill Morrison. I live at Harbor Point, Back Bay Beach Lane. I'm not on the board. I'm just looking for some general information because we're getting our information from our board, and unfortunately, I believe nobody, what anybody tells me anymore. Not that I believed, I have trust issues to begin with, being a police officer for 30 years, but anyways. My question is, we keep being told by our board that they're waiting for a date. They're waiting for a date from FPL to run the final connection. Our meters have been moved. Unfortunately, why our electric room was on the first floor, I got no idea. So it's completely underwater. They had to create a new electric room on the second floor. That's been done. The meters have all been moved. We have power. I've had power in my condo since we had generators to begin with, disconnected them after about 6 months because we had a contractor come in, clean everything out, get us temporary power. Now it's all been moved. So we have power. We're just waiting for that. And I'm ignorant to this electric stuff, the main lines to be run from the transformer to our electrical room. And we just keep getting told we're waiting on a date, we're waiting, and we've been hearing that now for a couple months.
Drayton, I know you've been active with Harbor Point. Could you address that?
Yeah, I don't know specifically, what addresses and stuff, but if we can get some specific addresses, and Charlotte, if you can get his contact, we'll definitely make sure to follow up on that and see what we need to do on our end to get that addressed.
It's 65 and 67. It's 3 different buildings. But
Okay, 26.
4263, 65, and 67.
Okay, Bay Beach.
Charlotte, if you can take this gentleman's a number down, we'll
Like I
call
said,
him
I'm
right
not
after.
associated with the board. They have a contractor. The board's doing this, but nobody. I don't think any of our board members are permanent residents, and I don't know if any of them are even here. I am
Okay.
a permanent resident.
Okay.
displaced
Yeah, if you'd like to give me your
everybody else for
contact
19
information, we'll be happy to provide this for you. We have, this is not a unique situation. We have had a number of concern calls from folks like yourself, Mr. Morrison, that just hasn't gotten the information, that it hasn't trickled down from the contractor through the board to the residents. So we'd be glad to provide that for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jim, you're thinking about it. Come on up. I can see the look in your eyes. You're.
You gotta go behind.
You gotta go behind.
It's high quarters.
Thought we did good to pull that up, but apparently.
Morning, Jim.
Good morning. Well, I came today really to just listen and gather information, but as it turns out, we have an FPL emergency in progress at Estero Cove Condominium Association. We had a transformer blow up last night, and FPL, I'm here to commend you guys. You responded immediately. A lineman was there. Doug was out there working in the rain. I'm telling you, it was raining so hard you couldn't see across the parking lot. Did a great job, got it all isolated, identified the problem. Said we were going to have to replace that transformer. That's the big green box that lives next to the building. So Mastec came out. The supervisor there, I think, was Xavier. Did a great job. Got his crew out there, and they got the old box out, and they were bringing the new box in. Got it in there. In the meantime, our electrical contractor arrived on the scene and began testing all our cables to see what could have precipitated this explosion. I think FPL found a small problem on the primary side, but we discovered we had some pretty significant cabling issues on the secondary side.
Okay.
So they worked last night until about 10 o'clock. Mastec stayed with them there so that they could get in and out of the transformer box to do their testing. They returned this morning to continue their work, and FPL said, well, you didn't have an appointment. I've been talking with Drayton a little bit this morning, as well as Sebastian, to try to get, all they really need is to be able to get, I think, in there to unlock the box so that they can continue their work. I think they're going to try to pull cable if possible. That is an occupied building. It's a 36-unit condominium building, and it is occupied. So they lost their power last night, and we're trying to get electricity back to these people so they have air conditioning, and they're concerned about their refrigerators and everything in there. So I commend FPL's immediate response yesterday and the great work they did last night, and everyone seemed very dedicated to helping get our situation resolved, and I hope we can continue to work on that yet today. My contractor's prepared to, and if FPL can help us, it would be greatly appreciated. The other question I had was, other than that, we've had really good experience with FPL. We were up here a couple of weeks ago because some of our meters had gotten swapped after the hurricane, and we met with Sebastian and Teddy. Teddy came right down and was able to get the meter numbers swapped back where they belong. So I can't say enough positive things about FPL's response, at least for Estero Cove. The other question I had, though, and I meant to ask it when we were up there a couple weeks ago, was we noticed around May 1st, imagine that, the street lights across the street went out between Albatross and Linnell. And I didn't know if it was because they were trying to turtle light season, or if it was just a coincidence that something happened there and they've never come back on. I was just curious if there was an issue there or if that was an intentional. It's very dark in that area. That's the area right there where the old hotel is, and that's going to be torn down.
Could you give me that location again? We'll check on that.
It's between Albatross and Linnell.
On Estero?
On Estero Boulevard,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Estero Cove is at 6895 and 6899, or 991 to 959 there at Estero Boulevard. It's a 5-building complex. We're working on elevators too. Everybody is, and elevators are a struggle. But we've had very good work with TK, as well as so far FPL has been very, very helpful in every single case. And this is we were a little surprised with this emergency that occurred last night, but again, I couldn't ask for a better response from FPL than what happened yesterday. So that's about all I really wanted to say.
First of all, thank you so much for your kind words. We really appreciate it. We've been working hard, as all of you have, to restore and find some sense of normalcy.
These last few days have been just horrible. I felt so bad for the lineman Doug. He's out there standing. You can't even hardly see him across the parking lot, and he's out there trying to isolate this transformer so that he could determine exactly what needed to be done. And amazingly, he called for a transformer, and you guys had one, and you were out there within 2 or 3 hours to put a new transformer in. It was just amazing, and I couldn't thank you guys enough for your attempts to get us up. but we still have work to do, I guess, because our cables were damaged, I think, in the explosion to the extent that they're going to have to be pulled and replaced real quick. And our contractor was, he's ready to go. I think he's out there now, doing what he can from the inside. I think he still has to get into the transformer.
Okay, so on your 2 action items, the street lights, we'll look to see if they're turtle lights or if they're out and need to be restored.
Okay.
Work on that. And then Drayton, do you have an update for Jim?
Yeah,
we're working with our crew lead specifically. We're working to try to get a crew out there for you. I can't guarantee anything's going to happen today with it, but we are going to get a crew out there as soon as we can for you, and we'll be in touch today for sure as far as that goes.
Okay, Drayton, thank you. I appreciate that. I can let my contractor know. I mean, because they're kind of working, I think, on the premise that you are likely to have someone out there yet today so that they can continue their work. So if that's not going to happen, I think they would need to know. But I do appreciate your help.
As soon as we're done here with this meeting, I'll make sure to follow up on that and see if there's any availability as far as that goes.
Thank you so much, Drayton. I very much appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the kind word.
Thank you for the kind words.
Charlotte, our understanding that the street lights were, because they were all converted to turtle lights along Estero Boulevard, that they weren't going to be shut off like they were in previous years, because there was a list of lights that could potentially have caused disorientation, but because they've all been converted, that list was no longer going to be used to turn lights off, because we know we need better lighting and that's coming. But so if it's just a matter of turning them back on, I think that would be appreciated.
Yeah.
It is dark down there.
Absolutely. And there may be an issue that has created that versus being turned off. So we'll check on that for you.
And to that point, I know that I've gotten several emails too, Mr. Mayor, that committee people or groups of people in the past have been able to call into FPL and request lights be off. We do want to bring that back to town control.
Absolutely.
So just for public safety, we're not just arbitrarily turning off streets because they feel something. We need to actually have a concerted effort to make sure that we're doing it correctly and following everything that we can for public safety.
Yeah, with any account that's in the town's name or any customer's name, all town accounts should only be requested to be turned on or off through the town. So,
thank you.
Yeah, we're in total agreement with that.
Hi.
Good morning.
My name is Jennifer Tuggle, and I'm the property manager for Estero Beach Club at 2580 Estero Boulevard and 2584 Estero Boulevard. I would like a better understanding of the process it takes when power, like the transformer is shut off so work can be completed, as far as inspections, who does it, who are we waiting for to get power turned back on. Our first building at 2584 was ready for permanent power equipment to be installed, and a request was put in the end of September. We weren't shut off until February. It took that long to get a date. Once we were shut off, it took about a month to get turned back on, even though we requested a 5 to 7 day shut off. So I know there were inspections and there were other things going on, but I would like a better understanding so I can explain that to our owners when we're waiting. And I also want to say thank you, Charlotte. You were a huge help in getting that done.
You're welcome.
We are ready now for the second building. The power shut off was requested in January, and you just helped us recently get a date for July to be shut down. But we've also found out that there's a possibility that our first building that has permanent power now may have to be shut off again in order to waterproof the room, some of the work that they need to do that. So my concern is now if we have to request the first building again, we're going to have another 6-month wait to get a date. Once these get shut off, are we going to be a month before they get turned back on? It just seems like there are a lot of delays that I don't understand and I don't know how to explain to our owners as we're waiting. So I would like a better understanding of that. And if that is the sheet that you were talking about, I would love to have one.
Yeah, we'll get that sheet for you today. There obviously are a lot of moving parts, not only with FPL, but customer, contractor, electrician, et cetera. So we will make sure you have that. And then our power delivery team, is there anything you'd like to explain so that others in the room might be able to understand that process?
Yeah, I mean, as far as those dates go, we at least within the last 2 years since the storm, or a year and a half since the storm, the the appointment dates are probably, been 5 to 6 weeks out. I can't speak, if you guys were requesting for an appointment in September and why it wasn't done in, until February off the top of my head. I don't know if there were issues that the electricians weren't relaying over, or if it was strictly just us not getting you a date. I can't answer that, right here, right now. But I can most definitely look into it and follow up with you on that. As far as the other building that does have power now, I don't know if that's 2580 or 2584. I don't know when that work is that you guys are requesting to be done or get that transformer shut off to do your work. But if we can shut both buildings off on the the same day for that work to get done, I don't know if that'll work with you guys, but
Yes.
we can either get you a new date or look into doing that.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
And it's something we
Okay.
just learned, so I don't think it's been officially requested. I just learned about it earlier this week that we may have to have it shut down. So, but yes, if we
Okay,
could
well,
coordinate those on the same day, I think that would be great for us and more efficient for you as well.
Yes, I don't see
Definitely.
any reason that can't happen like that.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Someone's got their hand up there on the, I can't read his.
And there's some questions in the chat too, if you want me to read those.
There's a gentleman with his hand up there.
That's John.
John?
Yeah, hey guys, how's it going? I'm an owner at Marina Yacht Club, Marina Towers and Yacht Club, 8401 Estero. Apparently, we're all ready to go. We're just waiting on metering. How long is the process of getting meters actually put into our electric room? How long does that typically take?
So those guys should be out there this morning, or will be at some point today to start working on your guys' reconnects. We got your inspections last week. I know there were some issues with the way the electrical gear was all installed originally, and there would have been a double billing situation if we had reconnected it back the way your electricians had installed all their gear. So we did address that with them, and that was probably about a month and a half ago. They did get that resolved, got the inspections last week sent over to us. We were, and then we had all the weather this week, but we do have a crew out there today to start working on those reconnects. So,
And with the delay, thank you so much for that response. That's very heartening to hear. With the delay about the double metering situation, was that due to a miscommunication or a poor design that we did, or it seemed like they didn't understand how you guys metered and designed it in such a way that it needed to be redone?
yes, just the way the house account or the house meter and the house services were all tied in with the rest of the gear. There would have been a double metering situation because we can only get so many sets of cables in a transformer, and the house meters are CT'd, and so that all had to be reconfigured, with your electrician and the engineers.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
I can further get you some more information if you need to. Just get with Charlotte and we can work on that.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Sure thing.
Come on up.
Hi, Vicky Dutcher, Condo Beach Club, North End. We don't have any lights in the street except for the brand new houses that were built before the storm, right? Opposite
Best Western.
Best Western.
Opposite Best Western, okay.
And I don't know what a transformer is, the big green box.
It's a big green box.
What about the big tub that's at the top of a pole? I always call
That's
that.
an overhead transformer.
Okay.
The green box is an underground transformer.
Okay, well, 2017, maybe, 16, I went to a meeting down at the Pink Shell because they were going to put all of take our above transformers off of the poles, put everything in a conduit, put it underground. Never happened. But this was with FP&L, big meeting down there, and, it kept getting delayed for various reasons. Now that everything is happening here on the beach, we're years from having a place to live. So, will they be taking the above transformers off the poles and be doing conduit, putting it in conduit, basically all the way down the beach?
Our power delivery team's going to answer that.
I'm sorry?
We have a program that's currently burying a lot of our facilities, but just so you know, that overhead facilities during Ian held up extremely well. It was almost beneficial for the people on Fort Myers Beach. Problem, with underground sometimes is it takes longer to repair. Overhead is very easy to find where you have a problem and we can fix it quickly. And it held up great during Ian. So I think in some areas like that, it's almost beneficial for the overhead system. We do have a program coordinator who runs the underground portion of our department, so we can check with them and find out if there's any plans for Fort Myers Beach. But at this time, I think the overhead facility, I can't say enough about it on Fort Myers Beach, how it held up during Ian.
Okay,
Thank you.
Anybody else got their hands up on the thing? I don't see any. What do you got?
Sarah Peck said that she has 2 immediate questions. One, why does it take so long to get a shutdown date once an inspection is cleared? That's her first question.
And so a shutdown date. Usually you're gonna have to get your date for a shutdown to replace your cables and your gear before any inspections. So those are really two different situations. If you've got some specific addresses that you're waiting on shutdown dates, please get with Charlotte there, or let us know what those addresses are, and we'll make sure to follow up with you as far as those dates go and make sure we can get that taken care of for you.
So if you want to put them in the chat, we can always get them to Charlotte. The second question is what they are talking about right now. So this was when somebody else was up here. The hydrogen gas explosions, is that going to be a mandatory thing with the fire department? I'm not sure what that was about.
Sounds pretty dire.
It does.
We got a bigger problem.
We got hydrogen.
Oh.
The damaged wires, damaged wires underground.
It created a hydrogen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you repeat the question? I heard hydrogen. And
Yeah, that's not. I'm not gonna leave any island.
Yeah.
She's asking if that is going to be a mandatory thing with the fire department, so I'm not exactly sure.
Inspections probably.
Well, that's why I think maybe that goes back to the conduit issue underground. It's hard to understand what.
Yeah, the wording is a little difficult.
Dan, we sent out a message to everybody from the fire
Uh-huh.
department.
Jim, can you come? You're the perfect person to address this. Jim is also one of our fire commissioners. So.
Perfect.
Good time.
Yeah.
Good morning. My name is Jim Nickel, and I'm the president of the Estero Cove Condo Association, which is what my first visit was about. I'm also a fire commissioner for the Fort Myers Beach Fire Control District. We sent out a message to everyone to let them know, at least all the condo managers, I believe, that there had been an incident in Marco Island where underground cabling had become inundated with salt water, and as the insulation deteriorated, it gave off a hydrogen gas. And the hydrogen gas built up in the conduit between the transformer and the electrical room. And apparently as it finally shorted inside the conduit and caused an explosion. The damage was in 3 places: inside the electrical room in that building down there. It blew a hole in the ground where the actual hydrogen gas was. And it also, of course, destroyed the transformer that the cable came from. So they were sending a message out so that we could notify our electrical contractors to be on the alert for the possibility of this happening. In our case, we've spoken with our contractor about it, and there, I believe, are devices that can sort of sniff for hydrogen gas to make sure that it's not building up in your electrical room for sure, and also coming out of your conduits that come into your electrical room. So that was the information that we put out. I don't think there has been any incidents of hydrogen explosions except for the one in Marco. I think it would depend on some of your cabling as well as how much salt water and how long your cables have been in the ground. There's a lot of factors that would go into effect.
Is there something that the fire district can put out as far as best practices, not just for condos, but for residential owners? I don't know that residential owners really have any transformer like a condo does that has underground conduit, but...
Yeah, I can speak with Chief Worth about it, but I'm not sure that we're in a position really to tell people what to do with their electric other than to...
No, I meant just more along the lines of what to look out for. What
to look out for.
Yeah.
And I'll talk to him about maybe putting that back out again to people, that flyer, because it did have some information there about what to do, what to look out for, and so that your contractors would be aware this is a hypothetical situation that can happen really in any of us now that we've all been underwater.
She has somewhat updated her question. She said, will the fire department make testing for hydrogen gas a requirement?
To the best of my knowledge, it is not. That could change. I haven't spoken with the fire official yet about this particular incident or about this particular question. So we have a meeting on next Wednesday, so maybe we can talk a little bit about it then as well. Okay. Any other questions about it? I can help. That's not what happened to us, by the way.
Right? Yeah. Good clarification.
No, I'm pretty sure the storm this week may have contributed to our situation, and we did discover our cables had, at least where we could see, were damaged by the explosion, and there also evidence that there had been some saltwater damage to the cables. Cables we had in the ground were aluminum, so it reacts with salt.
Sure. Yeah, any information that the fire district, if we can share it, just to...
Right. I'll ask if there's any additional information they have on that or any best practices they might offer, again, to condo complexes or homes that are dealing with the same issue.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
Jim.
She had one last question. Is it FPL's responsibility to pull the lines in from the transformer to the building when they have to be replaced?
I think that was answered, but we can answer it again. Can you guys just answer that again? Maybe she didn't catch it at the beginning.
Yeah, so from the transformers to the building is all customer-owned cable, and so that is the customer's responsibility to pull those lines or replace those cables if they need to be replaced.
That's all that I have.
That's it? Is there anyone else that's on the Zoom that has any questions? You can either raise your hand so we can see you or type them in, or if there's anyone else in the audience out here that has any questions.
Nobody is
If
raising
I could
their
just
hand.
comment on the structure fire question we had. That structure fire didn't occur on our system. And just so you know, we haven't had any issues similar to that that we know of so far. Our guys work in those vaults daily, and we're not aware of any gas issues. There are mangrove gases occasionally that will build up in a manhole system, but that's very rare. But as far as building fires, we haven't had the same issue.
All right. Charlotte, would it be, well, let me ask you first, would you like to share your email address so that people watching, if they, they'll send it to me and I'm going to forward it to you anyway, so, or would you?
I'm happy to.
Okay.
It's charlotte.r.miller@fpl.com.
Thanks. Because if you send it to me, it's going directly to her anyway.
True.
All right. If we have no other questions, thank you all for coming. Thank you, FPL. Thank you to your team on Zoom. I think this was very helpful and very productive. And now you can go directly to Charlotte. Please let us know. I know all the council members. Scott is here. Councilmember King is here as well. Observing and listening. We're all willing to help any way that we can. So reach out to us, Mr. King.
I guess since we had it till 11, if we let FPL go and see if there's any other condo issues that need to be addressed, it would be a good time now, I think. But it's your meeting.
Sure. Oh, is there other issues? Yes, sorry. I was getting to that, John.
There you go.
Thank you guys for coming, and if you have any questions, meet them in the back of the room. They can help you out. So now we'll move on to the other issues. Thanks, John, for reminding me. I was wondering why nobody was talking.
Thank you so much for having us. As Mayor said, let us know if we can help you further. We'll be in the back of the room. And for those of you that spoke and need for us to contact you, just give me your contact information. Thank you so much.
That flyer is sitting up here on this front table.
Oh, yeah, the flyer is up here on the table.
Perfect.
And we'll post it again on...
It is. It's on the website under news flashes right on the front page.
Okay, perfect.
Excellent.
As you're passing, Charlotte, I just have to say, having the mobile vehicle in front of the library there for the weeks that you've had it was a huge success. We've gotten a lot of comments through the public and people stopping us that they really appreciated having your people on site so they can answer those questions and deal with them. So thank you for that.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Yeah, we were there for 8 or 9 weeks, and Dupree was there quite a bit. Our power delivery team was there every week, and it was beneficial, I think, to all concerned. One of the things we were able to do that we were particularly happy about was that we could go on site with the customers that day and address the issues, and that was well received. So thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Charlotte.
Thank you for housing our vehicle as well.
Thank you. It was,
Now we've got some chatter out there, so let's direct it up here so we can all hear you. Who wants to go first on other issues? Anyone? John? Someone's got to be. You sat in the front of the class.
Vicki Dutcher, Cone Beach Club. We've gotten a notice from the town that we need to tear our building down.
Okay.
We are still in a battle with our insurance company. We've had lawyers for 2 years almost now, and this is a problem. If they're telling us not to tear our building down yet. We've got an insurance company that wants to give us half of the face value of what we've been paying for 40 years, and now the town is coming on from the other side saying we're going to charge you $500 a day if you don't tear this building down. And if we're going to, we're stuck, and all it's going to do is cost us money, and we shouldn't be in this position. Our attorneys have called the city several times and emailed several times, have not heard a peep. So we really need to, hold off. I mean, we've got to get this settled. We think we're very close, but now we've got a clock ticking, a time bomb ticking.
Well, what's your address, Vicki? First, give the address.
I can address it just point blank. Have you received a notice of violation from the town, from the code department? Okay, so in that, we have to put the parameter of what could be assessed. Your case has not gone before magistrate, nor will it. As long as you're communicating with the town and we understand whether your attorneys are saying that they've received information or talking to someone here, that will occur. And no one is going to be fined. No one is going to be showing up there with a wrecking ball anytime soon and doing anything. This is a process that we have to follow by not only state but federal law too, to buildings that could be either structurally damaged or possibly become a public hazard, public safety hazard. So we have to let those occupants of those structures know that those buildings are in need of some attention. That's what the notice of violation starts.
There aren't any occupants.
No. But the owners, we have people that use those buildings even though you're currently not using them unlawfully.
No, they make sure that doesn't happen.
So I get that, but I can assure you a lot of people make sure that happens, and it does happen.
Yeah.
So all it takes is one person, and we're on national news. We need to follow these steps to make sure that it's done correctly and safely. We appreciate that you're in a battle with your insurance company, with your residents, your owners.
Oh, I'm sure we're not alone.
However, on the town side, we are also in a battle not only with the state but the federal government to make sure that every structure on this island is safe and codable going on into the future. So those are the things that we're doing. The notice of violation does not mean that you're accruing any type of fine. No. The town cannot issue a fine. It has to come from magistrate. Those cases in your building's instance has not gone before a magistrate, nor will it. So we are more than eager to have your attorneys reach out to the town attorneys. That's how those conversations have to do. And that's where the conversation will take place, and it'll trickle down to our code staff, and we'll know that. But the violation has to be posted. We have to, by law, let you know that, hey, whether you realize it or not, this is not a cool place.
Okay, we were in a bit of a panic.
Can you reach out to your attorney and have them, I'm not arguing whether they did or they didn't, but can you have them send it to Becky Voss again, the Voss Law Firm? We will make sure that she responds to you, that she's received it at least.
Did you write their name? You know who that is?
A town attorney.
Town attorney.
It's a town attorney.
Okay.
Do we have you have her direct email address?
Becky's?
Yeah, that you can give them so that they
Yes.
can.
I'll get it.
476. No, wait. 474. Depends. Tax records 474. Post office 476. Never's made sense.
Love the shirt too, by the way. You're getting in the spirit. It's coming up.
That's right. Flag Day.
Flag Day.
That's terrible, Lord. Perfect.
Mr. Mayor, to her question, that is a general concern out there, that a lot of, some of these structures along Estero, some of these condo associations, apartment buildings, have received notices of violation, and what that does is that brings you to the table. We have to, by law, alert you that your structure's unsafe, and that at least gets you in here so we can have that conversation, what the means are to make it compliant. Whether it is demolition, whether it could be fencing it off, what are the steps that you need to do to be compliant. To your case, is your structure fenced off, totally secure all the way around? That's kind of what we would be looking for, to be compliant at this point. But well, sometimes the orange stuff can be climbed on, but needless to say, the conversation will continue.
Yes. That's perfect. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Michelle Wright, and I'm the treasurer for Estero Beach Club at 2580 and 2584. Our property manager was just up here a few minutes ago asking about power. My question has to do with water. We've been paying for water couple thousand a month, and we don't have water. So my question is, that is also a question that's been going around with the condo board members on the beach, up and down the beach, is why are we being billed for water? And can you please explain that to us, and is there a process for us to dispute that?
Yes, so basically, if you're having issues, one, if the water is going into the building, from the meter into the building, that's where you're getting charged for. It may not be hooked up internally, but that would be an ongoing charge as long as that meter is ticking. If you want to dispute those, and this goes for anybody, not just condos, any resident on an island, you can reach into our Fort Myers Beach utilities department, express your problem, make sure you give them your address, and we have all the historical records, we have the ongoing records and the meter reads. We can go through those records and go through them with you, and if it's something on our end, I assure you that it will get taken care of.
Okay.
And if not, we can point you in a direction to take care of it on your end.
All right, thank you. And just kind of for clarification, I just took over as treasurer recently when our other treasurer got so fed up with everything, he just quit. So this is new to me. So retroactively to the storm dates, are those also, can we also dispute?
Yes, ma'am.
All the way back?
Yes, ma'am.
Until
Yes, ma'am.
there's no timeline on
We
that?
would be able to tell you on which side of the meter that read is from.
Okay.
So when we take our meter read, it goes to that meter. We'd be able to go out there and assess whether the water might be leaking on your side of the property.
Yeah, okay.
We've run into an awful lot of that on this island, where coming into the meter on our side, we show that water is being used, our lines are intact. On the opposite side of that meter going to your facility, that's where there could be a crack in the line, and it can go over time and amass quite a bit. We've had several houses that, why am I getting charged $4,000 for water? I haven't lived there in a year and a half. They've sent somebody out there, they've dug up and found out that they've had leaks in their system. So those are things that our people can point you to and go through with you.
Okay,
The important thing is to let us know right away.
Yes.
Don't let it go months and months and months.
All right, thank you very much.
But isn't there always a minimum?
There should be what we call the active fee, but again, our utilities department can explain that a lot better than me, as far as what they do to keep the system active. Yes, ma'am.
But it's amazing how even just a running toilet can add up to gallons and gallons and gallons of water a month. So if you see something out of line, make sure you let us know right away. That way we can get it covered right away.
Yeah, charges for storm water and
Right.
wastewater.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Welcome back.
Hi. General question. I was talking to Jim. He said you'd probably be the best one to answer this for me. What is the general requirement for a condo building to allow occupancy? Did we automatically lose our occupancy permit because we're having work done on the building? During our meetings, a gentleman who lives there is a contractor by trade, and he swears up and down we never lost occupancy because of the type of permits that were pulled to do the work didn't require losing occupancy. The board says until we do A, B, C, and D, we can't ask for occupancy. My unit has been livable for the last 6 months. I have electric, I have water, and I have sewer. That's what, back in the day, that's what they said you had to have to be able to live in an occupied structure, as long as you had that. We're on permanent electric, even though the main line needs to be replaced, but that's a big confusion with a lot of owners is what does it need? Because my building's been released by our general contractor. Our building, go loose, go do what you want to do in your unit, fix it. My unit's been completely done for 6 months, but I'm still paying $3,000 to $4,000 a month in rent.
The question I have, because this has come up at least across my inbox a couple of times, is it your condo association board that's telling you that you can't have it, or is it the town telling you? Because it has gone, our attorney has written back.
They say the fire department comes out because our backup generator needed to be replaced. It's there. It hasn't been hooked up yet because they say it can't be hooked up until this electric gets run. Do you have to have a backup generator? Because I've stayed at places where they specifically told us no backup generator. It's not going to be here till October, but they're still allowing people to rent and stay in these units on the beach.
Well, what we've found, at least from the last meeting to this one, is there's kind of 3 parts to that. Jim left, but obviously because it's a condo, it's commercial, so fire has some say in it. The town certainly has some say in it, and it sounds like now the boards are trying to have a say in when these places can be allowed to be used again. So I think it's important that we get, if the town's permits, and I don't want to speak for Frankie here, but it's my understanding, if the town's permits have been signed off on, then the town is no longer restricting you from getting your CO.
Right.
It could be your condo's not association letting you in, and our attorney has said that that is a dispute between the condo owners and the homeowners. That has nothing to do with the town. That's a land or legal issue between them. Or it could be the fire district saying sprinklers, it could be backup, it could be all kinds of things. So there's
Because
3 different people that...
We've had a fire in a unit because some worker decided to heat up their lunch in somebody's condo, and the plastic fell down on the stove. So the fire department came out and they were able to hook up to the connect, not use the pump, but direct connect, and was able to put the fire out. So we know the fire department has the ability to do their job. They just don't have the pump.
And to answer, to tie in what the mayor said, and to kind of facilitate your question is all. So to get a CO in a building, it is a partnership, it's a dance. So yes, the town can sign off on those permits, whether it was in your unit or your building. Again, it all ties down to the 50% rule. You would have to be hard pressed where you're at to even come close to that, so I know that's not the issue. So individual homeowners coming in there, fixing up their units, those type of things, all those permits have to be followed. If you're to that point where the town signs off, we cannot issue a CO until our partner with the fire district signs off on theirs. So you will never get a CO one from the other. It has to be a partnership of both. So we both have to agree that yes, you've met the town's requirements, you've met the fire's requirements, whatever they may be. We don't participate in what the fire district does. They're their own, lack of a better term, animal as far as what they're looking for, public safety wise, building wise, those type of things. But we're looking for more of the habitable structures, so the drywall, the electrical, the plumbing, and how that ties in. If you're to that stage and you still haven't had a building CO, it's more than likely that you don't have that other part of that partnership signing off on it. And you said backup generator, that's a big red flag for me. until you get things set permanently where they can come and say, okay, that's the way it's going to be, this is what you have, blah, 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 and they go down that list and check their boxes, that's where they're going to be signing off on their end. I wish I could give you a quick and easy answer that, yep, we'll have a guy over there and he can just, yep, you're good to go. Unfortunately, with something like this,
The general contractor obviously hasn't asked for that yet, because
correct.
Like most of them, they don't want anybody there because they don't
So
want
when they finish
don't
their
want people
electrical
living there
completely-
while they're doing their work.
That was gonna be my next
Yeah.
question, is if you're, it's very easy to look at the permits and see if they've been signed off on and
Correct.
finalized from the town.
Correct.
If they haven't, then obviously you can't occupy the space. But if, I would start at your permits first and look and see where those are. If they've been signed off by the town and they've been signed off by the fire district, then that's 2 of the 3 entities that could be saying you can't be back in your place.
You reach out to me, and I'll make sure that that happens at that point if you're having any problems with any kind of permitting on the town side. And what we do on the town side, we're in close partnership with the fire district, so we're on the phone with them daily. We talk to them all day long about coordination of permits, not only on the residential side, but on the commercial side as well. So again, the permit, the CO will be issued through the town, but we have to have that other sign off.
So my question would be then, were all certificate of occupancies taken down for every condo on the and do they have to ask for a new one? Is there a way to check to see if we still have one on file that's still active?
So a certificate of occupancy goes with the structure. If the structure wasn't compromised in any way, shape, or form, it stays intact.
Yeah, the structure itself was fine.
But the units within that structure were compromised, and their in case affects the building.
We'll use the word
as a
allegedly.
whole.
It's a very good
Yes, sir.
question. I think that we need to get Joe. Joe's
yeah.
out
Yes.
sick today, but
We'll follow
he's
up.
still working.
Is there
but
a
he's out
place
sick.
to look? Is that on file that'll show what structures have occupancy permits, which ones don't?
No, it's a good question, though.
Should be in our
You
records.
make sure
It should be
follow up on
in the
for all
file.
the condos, because if it's affecting you, it would be affecting every condo.
Yeah, like if there's a database, you would look to just say, pick the condo. Yes, it has one. No, it doesn't. Because if we never lost it and we have it, then
Well, yeah, I'd like to know the answer to that question.
I'm ready to move in
If
yesterday.
after the storm, did everybody immediately lose their certificate of
Their
occupancy
CO.
just because of the devastation of the
And
storm?
then this is a question that I don't even know if you can answer or not, or you would on record. If somebody, I'm not saying me, moved into their unit tomorrow in our building because it is perfectly inhabitable, and the general contractor or the manager says you can't live there, and I say, screw you, kick me out.
Well, all I'm going to say is I can tell you that our when it comes to something like that, our attorney has told us that becomes an issue between.
Right.
So it becomes a civil issue.
It becomes a civil issue. That's yes.
File your eviction notice, and we'll see you in 90 days.
Follows us. That's what we've been instructed. So.
Okay, good enough. Thank you.
Mr. King.
Just to tag on to that, having sat on my own condos association board, during the hurricane, we declared an emergency, and then we're not allowing anyone into the building. The emergency acts that we've been under as a state and a town have given condo boards also more power along those lines. So I don't think at this point our condo board has voted to allow people to be back inhabiting their units. So that could be another avenue as well.
Our board did declare the emergency, but they released their authority on the emergency about 6 or 8 months ago because they were being challenged on some of the things that they did. But they did do the emergency, took that gave them the authority to go, even though people put signs on their door, there's nothing wrong with my unit. They went in and destroyed people's units based off this authority that they had. I'm talking ripping down cabinets, tearing out back everything.
Yeah, it certainly sounds
civil. Yeah, it's not a town
after the
thing.
fact, now they've released them. They no longer have their emergency powers. They released them. The board did. In a vote, they released them.
I have some clarity from our permit manager who just sent me,
Thanks,
was listening in on the meeting.
I'm sorry for your situation as well.
But my unit, I put it back together. You walked in the day after the hurricane, 7 or 8 days.
If you're gonna, yeah. He may be able to hear you, but.
About 7 or 8 days ago, after the hurricane, when they opened up the island, I sat in traffic for 5.5 hours like everybody else did, drove to my unit, opened the door, did the old, you know what, opened the door, and you'd have never known there was a hurricane inside my unit. The board, after several months, used their authority to bring in a mitigation company, and they started doing their stuff. I hired my own company. He said, if there was moisture here, it's not here now. All your drywall's dry. So if it was there and it was behind the walls, it's not there now. They used their emergency authority, tore everybody's units apart. And now we're fighting with Citizens Insurance like everybody else, which I'm sure you guys have heard. We did a letter campaign to every state official there is. I think it's about a $17 million claim. But their emergency authority's gone. And I use that to as soon as they released it, that's when I went in against their rules and I had my unit redone, basically. So that's the big thing is if they don't have the emergency authority anymore.
To Councilman King's point, our permit manager says the town as official, what we do is we issue certificates of completion on our permits. We do not issue a CO. And on the fire department side, what they're doing is their life inspection. That's what they call them.
Right, the life inspection.
So you're not actually getting a CO from us in a letter form like I explained earlier. That is coming through your board then, as what John had mentioned. If they're declaring that you can't move in, that's a issue with the board. It is not an issue with the town, as long as you've met those requirements.
Good enough. Thank you.
Anyone else? Jim? No?
Okay. Any questions there?
Any more questions on that?
The only question on there was from Estero Beach Club, which I think was already asked, but it was, can you please explain the reason for charging $3,000 connection fees for water service for a condo that had not been occupied? So I think that was the issue that we discussed.
Well, you had said connection fee. That's different from a user fee. Yeah, it's a different.
Okay, they just asked it again in a different way. Are condos being billed full connection fees if there is no occupancy? There may be water usage.
Again, I guess I'm a little. Connection means coming out to connect it.
Right.
Usage means it's already connected, but you're using it, so they could get a
So
little
if
more.
it's being used, it's connected. They would have already been charged that.
Right. Every meter in the island has water going to it. It's on the other side of that meter whether that water is actually being used as from the facility, or like we had mentioned before, there could be a leak in the system on their end. On that. Now, we do have water breaks, we do have things like that, but those you find out pretty quick because our pressure goes down town-wide. So on our end of the valve, we can detect that pretty easily. On the other side of that valve, that's where people have to do their due diligence with a contractor and make sure that they're piping, just like we talked with FP&L, as far as making sure their wiring is done correctly.
But if there's a break before the meter, on the town side, that does not go to the fee.
That is correct.
On the user side, on the other side.
That is all maintained by the town, yes.
And if it was never disconnected, there shouldn't be a connection fee.
That is correct.
We can look deeper.
They wrote again, I am talking about any fee that is not based on water usage.
So
that's permits and stuff.
No, if they're asking if they, my guess is what they're asking is if they had the water shut off because they're not living there, and maybe now if they're moving back in, is there a fee, in this case $3,000, to turn it back on or reconnect the service to the building? I don't know what that service fee is.
I don't believe it would be that
Doesn't
severe.
sound right.
But yes,
It would
again,
be.
reach out to our utilities department, they'll be able to
We can
answer all
find
those
out and
questions.
respond to them.
Yeah.
Trying to read to see what it says, can you please?
That's
the question.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's it. That's the same one. Talk about the fees.
So they're asking why, it appears that we charge them $3,000 for a connection fee, is what the original question looks like. water source for a building that is not yet occupied.
There would be a connection. If there would be a connection fee, I mean, they'd have to get it to test the water, the plumbing and everything else, so you'd have to connect it at some point, so it
Jason,
just depends.
Can you look up what the connection fee is for a condo for water?
You can ask.
Or someone.
Roxanne.
Utilities is right up here.
So we can give them an answer, what the,
He's going to need it.
well, we're trying to get what that connection fee is. Is there any other questions? Seems like there's a connection fee for everything nowadays.
Oh, yeah. There's always, there's always one out back home. It's like,
Any other questions popping up while they're?
No, I'm responding with the utility department's information in case they need it later,
Okay.
but.
We'll try to, before we wrap this up, we'll try to get that, what the reconnection fee is for a condo building.
An important message, Mr. Mayor, would be to all the condo associations that are out there or listening, is as your residents start coming back in and you see the need to do some repairs inside your building, anything that requires electrical, anything that requires plumbing where it touches electrical, that's what we're concerned about. If you're talking about putting in a cabinet that you didn't like before the storm and now that you're back in, I'm not worried about that. But if that requires touching or coming in close proximity to anything electrical or plumbing, that's when those individual owners need to come and talk to the town. We have a special permit techs all lined up to handle just the condo questions, so we can get those facilitated in a very expedient manner. So whatever the question would be, please don't hesitate just to reach out to us. We want to get you back in your homes as fast as possible.
What'd you find out?
So if it's a new service, yes, $3,000 connection fee. If it's the existing service, no fee.
So that's,
To reconnect.
we're gonna go down a rabbit hole now, because if they had service before the storm and it was disconnected because of the storm, are they then considered a new customer because they?
No.
They shouldn't be, but I just wanna make sure. Because FPL did that.
Exactly right.
We shut you off, we turned you back on.
And there could be some confusion, not that they're confused, but I mean, it's quite possible. What FPL, it's like inspection, fire department, town, FPL charges. I'm not saying it is, but there could be a lot of things going on. Connection fees are not necessarily just us.
And to that point, Mr. Town Manager, is that if you're seeing things like this, you don't think it's right, please just call in. It's better to ask that question than to sit there and stew about it and say, oh my God, look what's happening. We can get it rectified immediately if you call in, and we'll get the answer that you need.
Call our utilities department, they'll respond immediately.
Okay, anything else pop in there?
Yes.
Okay.
They said, sorry, I don't have a bill in front of me. Poor choice of words on my part. Our condo's being billed full monthly fees if there is no occupancy. These are the fixed fees that are not based on water usage.
Okay, got it.
That's the dispute that we were talking about. Or you're right, it was the original question.
And they're looking into that.
Yes.
Anything else? Anything else on the screen up there? No one's
Does not
answering
look
there.
like it.
All right, well, if you have any more questions, feel free to reach out to the council, reach out to Frank, you reach out to Andy. If it's specific to utilities, reach out to the utility department. If it's FPL, Charlotte left her number. We'll make sure that gets posted so people can contact her directly. Not that we don't want to help you, we're just going to forward it to them anyway, because they're the ones that have the answers, so we can skip a step. But if there's anything we can do as a council to help you out, please let us know. Thanks for coming, and we'll adjourn at 10:19.
thank you.